Greetings and salutations. Welcome back for another episode of Hype for Skyblivion. Today we're going to be doing the pilgrimage quest for the Knights of the Nine quest line. I already found the Way Shrine of Julianus, one of the Nine Divines. Doing a previous quest, I believe it was the quest where I find Weatherly for the Germain brothers. Let's see, yes, that's correct. So Weatherly is that settlement near me, or homestead. And I was thinking this quest doesn't have much storyline, so as we work through it and find the different way shrines, I would talk a little bit about some of the history of the armor that the Knight Order, the Knight of the Nine, was founded around. So there's a series of books that you can find called the Song of Pelennor that was added by this DLC questline, and they talk about a time where Cyrodiil was known as Cyrod and was under control of the Aeliads, kindred of elves that ruled this region, this heartland region, from a series of city-states. And at that time they had enslaved men and probably the beastmen races, and used them for labor in their cities, and also for their twisted art tortures. We can only speculate on what these were. They had names such as the Wailing Wheels, the Gut Gardens, the Sculptures of Flesh. So, during this time, in these books, three main figures among the men are mentioned as playing a key role in the rebellion that eventually overthrew the Aeliads. Well, one of these was Alessia, known as Slave Queen, and she was a human woman who I believe became the first Empress of Cyrodiil. She played a big role in rallying the humans, rebels, and enlisting the aid of the Nords, a kindred of humans from Skyrim who had previously thrown off the yoke of the elves up there. Okay, I found another temple, I see. Debella, one of the Nine Divines. I believe she's centered around beauty and love. It looks like she boosts personality. Alessia is also known by many other names. Most of them start with A, although I believe there was one like Paravana or something like that. Check real quick to see where the next shrine is located. So I've done Debella and I've done Julianus. So I could go for Mar outside of Skingrad, Arcay, looks like it's between Anvil and Kvatch. And you may notice that I have a ton of money right now. The last video, which admittedly was a while back that I uploaded, I found a chest in one of the caves of, I believe it was a side quest where I found a cave to do with Sheogorath. And inside the chest I found these high-level potions I was able to sell for a ton of money. I think each one of them was worth like 1,300 gold. So very nice. I believe the chest was added as sort of a reward to encourage exploring the dungeons by the modder of SNES Better Dungeons. And I like that because originally there wasn't much incentive to exploring the dungeons. But going back to what I was saying about the three main figures during the rebellion of the humans from the Aeliads, there was Alessia. Another one was actually a minotaur known as Morhos, and was the son of Kine. Now Kine was a Nordic god associated with nature, and she later became known as Kinnerus in the pantheon of the Nine Divines. Now Morhos was a demigod, and then the third figure is Pelennor Whitestrake, and he was also a demigod. Some believe that he was a child of Shor, sort of a god of war among the Nords. And Shor, I believe, was the husband of Kine in the Nordic religion, so he would have been kin to Morhos if this is true. Pelennor is Elvish, which means glorious knight or star-made knight. And he reminds me very much of Achilles from the Greek legends regarding the Trojan Wars. And I'll explain that comparison as we go along. Now, Pellinol was known as Pellinol Whitestrake because he had a very grim countenance. Even as a young man, his hair was white, he was very serious. He was known for, not for leading armies during the rebellion, but for challenging different sorcerer kings among the Aelids to duels of personal combat. Okay, that's another shrine down. Just on a little side note, I love the way the retexture makes these shrines look. Looks almost Roman Imperial. Okay, I'm going to cut ahead a little bit here. I'm now outside of Bruma. There's a shrine south of Bruma. I believe it's to Akatosh. Now, Pellinol Whitestrake was apparently very much a man controlled by his emotions, which is kind of the impression that I get of Achilles, so that's one reason for this comparison. He's not known for having the best judgment. He was very brutal in his fights against the Aelids, and so they knew him as Pellinol the Bloody-Handed. Pellinol Whitestrake was also known as Pellinol the Blamer, for he was quick to blame his allies for faults. Pellinol didn't actually join in the fight until much later. Now, he was basically invincible due to the armor that he wore. It was said that Kine gave him a bloody diamond, and I wonder if this was perhaps the Amulet of Kings. But I seem to recall reading somewhere that Alessia actually received that. Maybe she received it from Pellinol? I'm not sure. But he was also given a suit of armor that they said was from the future. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but it was to become the armor that the Knights of the Nine Order is based around. This armor made him immune to the Aeliad weapons. So this is another comparison that I have to Achilles, for Achilles was also nigh invincible. So Pellinol had his invincible armor. He went around killing Aeliad lords, and he didn't join in the battle until a man that he had raised up as a hoplite and trained as a hoplite. And again, that term hoplite makes me think of Greek legends. This man was known as Huna, and he did fight in the war against the Aelids. I'm not sure if he fought under Moras or Alessia or another one of the human rebels, but he was eventually slain, pierced by Aeliad arrows. And this caused Pellinol to go berserk. He entered a madness and took the fight to the Aelids, wiping out their armies and pushing towards their capital, the White Gold Tower, which is actually the Imperial Palace in Cyrodiil in the current time period of the game. So I see that Akatosh shrine gives me a nice magic boost, and this, as you activate these shrines, it makes it so that you can activate them in any temple of the 9 in the cities, so you can easily keep renewing these benefits from this shrine, which is very nice. Okay, I think I'm going to head to the further south areas and try to get Stendarr next. So as the rebellion gained strength and the Aelids start to lose to the humans, they started relying more and more on one particular sorcerer king. He was known as Umbra, and he was a half-elf. And he'd bound himself to, I believe, the Daedric Prince Meridia, somehow. Now, I believe Meridia is the one that's known for her hatred of the undead. Now, the Daedra are outsiders that enjoy manipulating mortals, and they were worshipped by many of the kindreds of elves, in particular the Aelids and the Dark Elves, the Dunmer. The Aliens were also known for worshipping the Aedra, which were the outsiders that created, I believe, Tamriel for mortals, and they did not manipulate humans the way the Daedra did. Let's see this bandit real quick. Now, Umral, through his deal that he brokered with Meridia, gained access to her warriors, the Orions, something like that. And he put up a good defense around White Gull Tower. Now, before Pelennor Whitestrike made it to the tower, he encountered the armies of Moros and Alessia, and they tried to convince him to be patient and wait for the Nordic armies that Alessia had engaged to come and help them to arrive. But Pelennor Whitestrike was caught in the madness that had come on due to Huna's death, and he would not listen to him. He stormed the tower by himself. He slew all the aliens that stood in his way and their Daedric allies until he came to Umral. Now, it's not really explained in the song how Umral did it, but somehow Umral made it so that Pelennor's armor no longer protected him, and I believe he was pierced by their arrows. He still managed to slay all their warriors. He challenged Umral to a duel, but Umral, preferring to fight from afar, refused. But Pelennor still managed to fight his way to Umral and defeated him. It's said that he disfigured Umral's golden mask with his mace, and then heaped insults upon him and all the other elves that had come to Cyrod. The surviving sorcerer kings were so incensed by his insults, his taunts, that they fell upon him and killed him, dividing his body into 8 pieces. Oh, there's another shrine down. The Heart of Stendarr. So Stendarr boosts endurance. Nice. Now, shortly afterwards, Moros, Alessia, and the other rebel armies arrived and drove off the few surviving Iliad kings. It's said that in the aftermath, Moros spoke with Pelennor Whitestrike's severed head, and Pelennor Whitestrike lamented that Umral had cheated death. We can see now in just the beginning of the Knights of the Night quest line from the previous episodes that I recorded that Umral has returned, that he had escaped somehow to Oblivion. So that has to do with the quest line that we'll be doing. The armor, I guess, was sent along with the severed body parts of Pelennor to the different rebel armies, trying to discourage them before their final taking of the tower. Obviously it didn't work. I'm not sure if it had the opposite effect. It seems likely. But there is a book called, I believe, the Knights of the Nine, that can be found in the Oblivion game added by the DLC, that speaks of a later attempt by a group of knights to gather up all the different pieces of the divine armor of Pelennor Whitestrike. And I will be covering the contents of that book in a later episode. Now, that's another shrine down. So I'm about halfway there. So it's an interesting history behind the Knights of the Nine of Armor. It's not told the most clearly in the Song of Pelennor. It's clearly written by Bethesda, or whoever they employed to write up the lore, to mimic old texts. It's missing parts. It's written in a kind of a dry, confusing manner, similar to Greek and Roman mythology. So I'm not sure if I got everything right there, but basically the way I look at it is Pelennor Whitestrake was a lot like Achilles. He was a great warrior, a champion for the humans. He helped bring down the Aliads, but he was a bit wild, a bit difficult to control, and his passions eventually led to his own defeat. Man, the game's looking pretty good. So, most of the Knights of the Nine questline centers around retrieving the armor, the divine armor of Pelennor Whitestrake. The quests that we did in a previous episode, which I think was basically just starting this one, a prophet told us of Umbra's return and entreated us to prove ourselves worthy by completing this pilgrimage that we're currently on. And oddly enough, it doesn't give you markers the way most quests do to your different objectives. And there are actually multiple shrines to each of the 9 divines in Cyrodiil. So you can actually complete it by going to various locations. I'm mostly just using the little map you gave me to find the locations, but I have staggered in the past upon other ones. Although I believe some of the shrines are destroyed if you play the main quest line by the summoning of Oblivion gates. So I'm not sure if you can still use those ones to complete the quest line later. I'm just gonna discover this ruins. Just so that I can fast travel here later, because I believe the very next Knights of the Nine quest line will take me back to this bridge that I'm about to cross over. I think I'll hit the Shrine of Talos next. Should be around there. Talos was not originally one of the 9 divines. There were 8 divines at first, and in the aftermath of the rebellion against the Aliads, Alessia had to form a new religion. She had to blend the Aliad religion, which included gods such as Akatosh, with that of the Nords, like Kine, being renamed as Kinnerus, in order to appease both the elves and the humans still living in her empire. Spider. I need to get a more powerful spell. With all that money that I obtained from the previous video, I think, or rather in the previous video from the cave, I think I need it forward to train up my skills a little more and get some better spells before the next quest. This should be the Shrine of Talos here. Very nice. So Talos wasn't added to the religion until much later. He was actually a human emperor, an emperor of Cyrodiil. Apparently he was dragonborn, and he united the empire and accomplished a great many things. I believe he was behind the conquering of various provinces, such as I hear sounds of combat. Sounds like an Imperial forester getting stuffing beaten out of him. Let's see if we can help. But he united various of the provinces annexed them into the empire through conquest, including the Dark Elves. Yep, seems like it's a Durzog. Now these things are actually pretty tough. They weren't originally in this game. They did make an appearance in Morrowind's expansion set Morrowind. Looks like I got the Forester. And but they're added by the creature diversity mod. they're pretty tough, very beefy. It's not surprising that a forester wouldn't be able to bring one down. Right, I don't think there's a shrine anywhere near here, but I'd like to see. Looks like there's a Daedric shrine, not an Imperial shrine, near here, and a camp. I think I'll grab the camp, and that way I can fast travel back here if I happen to have quests in this area again, or I want to explore one of these ruins. Sweetwater camp. Looks like it's got bandits. The camps are actually pretty good later in the game for increasing your wealth. You can fast travel to them, and they'll have bandits, leveled bandits, with leveled armor and weaponry that you can then seize and yikes, it's a disgusting looking spider. Now the spiders are added by the creature diversity mod as well. There weren't originally spiders. Man, that's gross. I'm not a fan of spiders. But anyway, so you can go to the camps, you can get leveled armor and weapons from bandits, and then you can sell it. So it's usually a good idea to just grab every camp that you see, and that way you can fast travel between them whenever you need some loot or want to check for the next leveled armor. Alright, it is a ways away before the next one, so I'm probably going to cut out a bit of this footage so that the video doesn't run too long. But I believe the next one is Kinnereth's shrine. Kinnereth is the divine associated with nature, the one that, as I said earlier, was known by the Nords as kind. There it is up ahead. Looks like I'm getting attacked by an albino rat. This is another feature added by the creature diversity mod. Retexturing, recoloring some of the enemies, resizing them so that you get more variety in the creatures you fight. So it's pretty neat sometimes to see something like an albino rat, you know, something that wasn't present in the original game, and just adds a little novelty to it. There we go, another one down. Pretty close to the end. Now, some of the footage that I've cut out from this video was me wandering around, got confused what shrines I'd already visited, and was looking for another one. So I cut that out so that the video maintains an easy length to render. I use DaVinci Blackmagic to render my videos, and it struggles when they're much longer than a half an hour. I think the last one is Arcay, over by Kvatch. I'll probably fast travel there, well, to Anvil, and then hike up there. Yeah. I don't really want to do the main quest line with this character, and if I fast travel to Kvatch, I'm going to get approached by character from it. So I've cut out, again, some of the footage here. Just outside of the walls of Kvatch. You can see a shrine up ahead. This area is extremely rocky, which makes it difficult to locate the shrine. In fact, as I just discovered, this is not the shrine that I was looking for. This is a shrine to Zinnerus. I already hit his shrine down by Leowin. Now I've gone too far east. I'm going to cut ahead a little bit. I've been wandering around in the dark here. The EMB does make the game a lot darker at night, which can make it more difficult to locate things. I'm getting attacked by wolves. So what I think I'm going to do is, you can't really see any real distance to the darkness. I think I'm going to rest here, and then in daylight I should have an easier time finding the final shrine, that of Arche. That should do it. And sure enough, there it is. It's just below me. As you can see, this terrain, the terrain around Anvil and Kavach, is very, very hilly, very rocky, and it makes it difficult to locate things like the shrines, which don't appear on the map as a marker. However, I do like the variety of the different regions. I like that about Skyrim too. You went to something like Riften, it looked very different than another province like, another hold like Dawnstar. It's been a while since I played Skyrim. I played it a lot when it first came out, and as expansion sets released. And then I was busy with starting college, and I was having some health problems that had me gaming very little, if at all. And haven't gotten back to it for a while. Haven't actually played it on PC yet either. I don't think it was as big on PC when
knight!
I was first
You seek my relics with a worthy heart. Your prayers have woken me from my endless dream. Or perhaps you have entered my dream, and I still sleep. I think others have sometimes spoken to me. Others like me, but my memory is doubtful. Perhaps the others came after you. Your need must be great for the gods to allow us to speak. As Loki, the accursed, found a way back, the fairest of a foul race, 1,000 curses upon his unholy name.
Okay, I'm gonna lower the sound effects and increase the voice volume. I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to hear him talking, but this is like the spirit of Helena Whitestrake. Apparently we're having a vision.
I thought I'd won, but I should have known. The slave masters are a cunning breed. Umbra found a way to cheat death as I could not. If you would seek for my relics, I know little that can help you. All that has passed since my death is like mist that my mind cannot take hold of. My friends built a shrine upon the site of my death, where the elves tormented me as a final act of revenge. I can show you where it once stood. Perhaps it is there still. Fare thee well, Sir Knight. May the gods grant you to destroy.
Okay, sorry if you can hear that. I'll try to adjust the volume better in the future. Where it was going to be quite so noisy was the wind during that vision. But next time we will seek out Helenol's resting place to try to find the first of the relics. I hope you will enjoy this episode and will join me for the rest of the night's quest line. I'm sure it'll be a blast.